Well, hi there. It's Monday afternoon, the 10th of February, Journal 279, T+313. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. Mine was relatively quiet, still getting over pneumonia, which has been an adventure. Not sure why it seems to take longer the older you get, but it does. Recovery is more difficult, especially when you don't have an immune system, but we're getting through it. So that's the good news. It's hard sometimes when you're working on blog posts to figure out what to talk about, especially when you're doing it often, as I am. I mean, there's this balance that you're always trying to find between between something that's relevant, something that's going to resonate for whoever listens to it, and things that are uncomfortable, that are difficult to talk about. So you're always looking for something that's kind of universal in a way, in the respect that it's something that'll be familiar to the people that you're talking to, but not so uncomfortable that it makes them squirm. Although sometimes squirming is okay. Sometimes squirming is good because it helps us. It helps remind us of our humanity. It helps us. It helps us to remember what's important. I've been struggling to figure out whether or not to talk about this one specific subject, this one incident in my life, and I've decided that it's something that I can't help talk about. I'm not sure how universal it'll be. Realistically, that's not 100% true. I'm sure it's incredibly universal. I think it's something that we all share. I just don't know that we all process it the same way, and that's loss. Particularly the loss of someone important to you. Probably 35 years ago, I began a friendship with a young mechanic technician shop owner from Baltimore, Maryland, Paul Zappardino, Zap as he's affectionately known to everyone into whose life Zap came crashing. He started calling the shop back in 1985, the end of 1985, middle of 1985. Now you have to appreciate the fact that the shop was really busy. It was a production shop. And in 1985 and 86, I was still working as a full-time certified technician and spending 10, 12 hours a day on the shop floor fixing cars. And concerned about billable hours. And as one of the full-time technicians there, I was responsible for contributing to those billable hours. So as you might imagine, the calls were screened carefully by my mother and father, both of whom were still very, very active in the business at that time. And if you weren't my editor, from the magazine that I was writing for at the time, or a potential consulting client, or someone who was calling to book a speaking engagement, or a client, a customer of ours, chances are you weren't going to get through. Somehow, Paul managed to get through that first time. And over the course of the next 35 years, he became an important part of our family. The friends, the family you choose from amongst your friends. And he called often, once a week at least in the beginning, for many, many years, and then subsequently every couple of weeks after that, until very, very recently. We went through a lot together. He became intimately aware of my family. Many times he'd call and talk to my parents and never get around to talking to me. And that was okay too, because he loved them dearly and they loved him. So he became an integral and important part of our lives. And I got to know about him and his family, Yvonne and the boys. And in the beginning, he called because he'd become familiar with my writing and felt that he knew me through the writing almost instantly. And throughout our friendship, I always got the feeling that he felt that I was much more important somehow than he was, more important to him than he was to me. And in all honesty, that couldn't be further from the truth. Because of his humanity and because of his kindness and his caring, he became an example of what it is to be a professional in this industry and what it is to be a human being. And he was a great example of both. Recently, sometime after he closed the shop and after he found a new home at the post office in their motor pool, a few weeks ago, he had a seizure. At first, they thought it was a stroke. Turned out to be a brain tumor, glioma. He was fortunate enough to be taken to Johns Hopkins. He was operated on. Like so many other operations, the operation was a success. The problem was, while he was in rehab, regaining the use of those parts of his body that were affected by the surgery and by the tumor, he collapsed and subsequently succumbed. His passing got me to thinking about a lot of things: love, friendship, loss. The thing that's really important about our relationship, aside from the fact that Paul was a very important part of my life for a very long time, is not so much the fact that he's gone. I mean, though that's difficult enough to deal with. I mean, it's going to be hard as time goes by and I don't get a call. I don't listen to that really gravelly voice or the fact that he spoke so fast it was really hard to listen to him and to keep up. But he left a legacy behind, as so many of us can hopefully do, of kindness and love and caring and friendship that's meaningful. And it's something I think we probably should all strive to do. And remember that even though we're only here for a nanosecond, we do leave ripples in that cosmic pond that resonate outward from the center, and it's possible for us to bathe in those ripples, to allow them to wash over us and remember all of the important good that's left behind. And they say that's what our immortality is all about. They say that you're immortal until the last person who knows your name is gone. I think that one of the things that I'm going to strive to do is make sure that Paul's memory remains immortal, at least to those of us who knew him and cared for him deeply. That's all I got to say for now. So that's it for now. Until we talk again, stay well and take care. If you got something to say to someone you love, say it. There are no guarantees. We're not like cartons of milk. We don't have an expiration date punched on the side. We have no idea how long we have, how much time we have, and aside from the fact that it's never enough. So tell the people you love them. Hug the people that you care to hug. It's important that you leave nothing unsaid. Okay, that's it for now. Bye-bye.